best we can. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel.
That's her mom right there. Sheila.
Oh, yes, yes. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Oh, thank you for putting the pieces together. Yes. Yes. No, I love the worst of great.
Yeah.
This name in nothing. It was like
Not recorded.
nothing. Nobody got it. It's just
This one will be recorded. As long as it's recorded. This one needs to be.
well, we'll see. But I thought, well, that's it. That's maybe the worst thing that happened. It felt terrible because I don't know. I'm just up there
Of course, yeah. You don't have
talking
to
to
know.
myself.
No, there was a crowd. Do you mind if I let my phone up there?
Not at all.
Okay.
I'm glad you put that up there. This is a hard place to speak from. The light is hard.
Yeah. Hello. As you're getting your hymnals, which you will need today because we're having trouble with projections, we'd like you to focus in on our choir who's singing for us as part of our prelude. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, choir. Hello, good morning. Good morning to all of you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here, dressed up for Halloween, in black. Our music minister, our choir director, Carrie, with her magic wand. We saw that. So, welcome. Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Hamilton. We ask everyone here in the sanctuary and everyone online, although I think we're having a little bit of trouble with that. So if you're here, we're happy you're here, and if you're not, we'll find you soon. And as always, we ask you folks here in this room to turn off your devices so we can all be focused in together here. My name is Monica Bennett. My pronouns are she, her, and I am grateful for the opportunity to be your service leader today. We welcome you today, whatever the circumstances of your life, in the many ways we identify as people, and in the diversity of how we love and live. In this house of faith, we are all included as we search for truth, build community, and strive to make the world a better place. Many thanks go to the folks here who are making today's service possible, including Reverend Jamie, our speaker, our music ministers, Rachel Derry, our choir director, and which? What did I say? I'm sorry, Cindy Carey, and the choir, of course. Our Story for All Ages, as it was with our religious educator, Tim Versteeg. Our tech team is Brian Carey by his lonesome today. Go, Brian. Our worship associate is Paula Borner. Our usher is a clown, Barb Wallace. And our greeters today are Julia Rock and Daphne Payne. So, I'm going to light our chalice. Each time we gather, we light a chalice. It reminds us that we are entering sacred space and time together. It also reminds us that we are connected to Unitarian Universalists the world over. Join me in our chalice lighting words that you know. May this flame be our light of friendship and love. We have much to learn from our Indigenous siblings. So, in the spirit of reconciliation, on a day when we are learning from the stars, I offer words from scholars and educators Will Morin and Bruce Waters. According to the elders of various Indigenous communities, there was a time long ago when every star had a name or a connection to a constellation, each with its own stories to tell and lessons to learn. That information and much more has been all but lost to us as a direct result of colonization and the disruption of outright banning of traditional knowledge sharing and practices. Fortunately for us, there have been knowledge carriers and elders who have passed down oral knowledge from generation to generation. A small example are stories connected to the pattern of stars that we know as the Big Dipper. The Haudenosaunee saw a bear, not the Big Dipper, that we know. The bear itself was the bowl of the dipper, and the tail of the bear is actually 3 hunter birds that are chasing the bear. And that picture changed in the sky as the seasons move, right? So it's a different place as we go around the sun. And in each season, there's a different story that goes with that bear. The Haudenosaunee, to the Anishinaabe people, this pattern of stars wasn't a bear at all, but Ojig, the fisher. I don't know that story. It's another one to learn. The Indigenous constellations provide the rich perspective of an integrated understanding of life and death that serve as a constant reminder as to how one should live their life. Other constellations provided additional stories that would serve to both further an understanding of the world, as well as providing an important moral or way to live one's life. Connecting to the stories of those people who lived in Ontario long before colonization is an act of shifting perspective and respect. We owe it to ourselves, as well as to those who were here before us, to learn these stories.
Good morning. It is good to be with you today on this day where we will celebrate the cosmos together. My name is Reverend Jamie Boyce. My pronouns are she, her, and I have the great privilege of serving this congregation as its interim minister. In that role, I journey with you towards your next settled minister. It's a very exciting time in the life of this congregation. The future is bright, like a new star in a faraway galaxy. We are so glad you are here with us today. We gather in body and spirit to notice the magic of the fall season, to feel the thinning of the veil, and to gaze upwards at the sky in wonder and awe, to notice our connection to the majestic web of life. Together today we will consider lessons from the stars. We will hold wonder and awe among us and consider what the stars have to teach us about justice. In the spirit of friendship and love, I invite you to greet your neighbors this morning. Perhaps place your hand on your heart, turn to each other, and say these words: I'm glad you're here. And if you're joining us online, I invite you to greet each other in the chat. We are indeed glad that you are here today. are you ready? Are you ready to rise in body and spirit and sing together? We might have the words now. Are we online, or do we need our hymnals, Brian? Okay, we're getting there. All right, we are on our way. Please rise in body or spirit as you feel called for our first hymn, number 175 in the gray hymnal. We celebrate the web of life.
We celebrate the web of life, its magnitude we sing, for we can see divinity in every living thing. A fragment of the perfect whole in cactus and in quail, as much in tiny barnacle as in the great blue whale. Of ancient dreams we are the sum, our bones linked stone to star, and bind our future worlds to come with worlds that were and are. Respect the water, land, and air, which gave all creatures birth. Protect the lives of all that share the glory of the earth.
All right. Good morning. How's everybody doing? So, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do up here yet. But that's okay because, yeah, I'm mine. I'll do a little show. Actually, I am going to pivot because there was a story for all ages this morning, which was going to be Samhain with Granny Hulda. We will do that one next year. But I went back into my office and I found something that we used a couple of years ago. So I'm going to read that. So this is going to talk a little bit about the traditions of Halloween. And today we, in the children's program, are going to be making monster cookies. And monster cookies that are gluten-free and wheat-free and all the other free, but should be tasty. And I want to thank Kate Hicks and Grace Pollock for designing the whole process because it would have been beyond me. So they are our chief bakers this morning. And we will be sharing afterwards, so, you know. So just to talk a little bit about Halloween, before there was a jack-o'-lantern, there was a will-o'-the-wisp. And the carved pumpkins we see this time of year may have started with swamp gas. Strange lights, resembling the flickering flames of lanterns, were often seen in bogs, swamps, and marshes in England and Ireland. And these lights were attributed to spirits, sprites, and fairies of the otherworld, collectively known as will-o'-the-wisps. The lights were thought to be a trick of these spirits, leading travelers astray from their paths. And modern science explains them as natural phenomena, such as bioluminescence or chemiluminescence, caused by the oxidation of phosphine, diophosphane, and methane, produced by organic decay. So it all comes back together. Many stories were told to explain these lights, including the Irish story of Stingy Jack, who attempts to bargain with the devil only to be cursed to roam the earth with only a hollowed turnip to light his way. So will-o'-the-wisp became Jack of the Lantern. A wisp is a bundle of sticks, sometimes used as a torch. So Jack was substituted for will, and lantern for wisp. Turnips, gourds, and pumpkins were hollowed out and scary faces carved on them. Candles lit inside, to warn off evil spirits who might be about on Samhain, when the veil between our world and the other world was said to be at its thinnest point of the year. Now, I'm just going to talk a little bit about that veil of the year, because Halloween, as we know it, does have its roots in Samhain, an old Celtic festival that literally translated from Old Irish means summer's end. It speaks to a time when not only were people in the British Islands more connected to the earth, but belief in the supernatural was ubiquitous. Samhain is a cross-quarter day in the Celtic calendar, falling halfway between Mabon, the autumn equinox, and Yule, the winter solstice. At this juncture of the year, when the harvest was in and winter was coming, the divide between the world of the living and the dead was at its narrowest. It was a time of reflection to remember and tell stories about loved ones who had passed. A harvest feast was prepared, and an empty chair was left for spirits who might want to join them. With the spread of Christianity, many of the old ways were co-opted into the new religion. Adapting the Celtic traditions to the Christian framework, the celebration of Samhain was gradually incorporated and obscured by All Hallow or All Saints' Day, the night before being All Hallows' Eve or Halloween. The following day, November 2nd, was marked in the liturgical calendar as All Souls' Day, extending the celebration of the departed. Today, this is celebrated as the Day of the Dead by Latin American Catholics. In England, a tradition of solars, going door to door, developed in medieval times. Solars were mainly children and the poor. They went door to door singing and saying prayers for the souls of those in the house, seeking a gift of food in return, as well as fruit like apples. And soul cakes were often given out to the solars for their efforts. And some of you might remember we made soul cakes a couple of years ago. They are not gluten-free. And they are heavy in butter, so we are not making those today. It's not hard to see how these Celtic traditions were transported with English and Irish settlers in North America, eventually evolving into what we celebrate as Halloween. And so going door to door in a couple of days, just remember that the children are reenacting century-old rituals of asking for food in exchange for blessings for our ancestors. And with that, our time for all ages is done this morning. Jamie, would you like to grab our children's chalice for us? And we are going to go make cookies.
After our meditation in words today from Thich Nhat Hanh, we'll pause in silence. When the music lifts us out of that silence, feel free to come forward and light a candle of your own for a joy or sorrow in your life. And to prepare for that, I ask you to place your feet on the ground, your hands where they're not busy and are comfortable. Close your eyes if you wish, and breathe. Little star, where have you been, little star? I have been looking for you everywhere. Out of my window among the dark clouds, where have you been? I feel so forlorn, like a small bird lost on a foggy island. It has been raining for nights. The town is so chilly and deserted. Late at night on the sidewalk, I see silhouettes of lonely, wet forms. Resting my head on a stack of books like the ancient poets, I have tried to call up your image from deep in my consciousness, while the rain and the wind continue to rage. Tonight, as I bend over my desk, my head held in my two hands, I cannot imagine that the wind has carried away all the clouds. The sky is clear. The rain has stopped, longing for your call. I am surprised to see you there through the window. You have returned. Dear little star, you have been through such storms, rain, and wind. Where did you go? For how long? And in what strange land? Have you been weeping? You have come back. Your eyes are still lost in surprise as you watch me through the window. Where have you been on these stormy days? Your little body battered by countless winds, still shivers with cold. Resting peacefully at the bottom of the crystal cup with tears in your eyes, you recall. Today, the kingdom of heaven held a great festival for thousands of stars. The sky is clear. The clouds have blown away. I went up to that kingdom and knelt down for our homeland and prayed that the anguish, the killing, the disasters of fire, flood, and cruelty in our poor land would end. Little star, your voice has reached millions of stars that all transformed into wonderful teardrops trembling in the air. I am sending deep thanks to 10,000 little stars whose faith is diamond strong. You are like flowers blooming, shining brilliantly in the vast reel of consciousness. My little star, you are back home. With tears in my eyes, I call your name and feel the warmth in my heart. have one joy to celebrate today. It's anonymous and from all of us both. Congratulations to all involved in yesterday's Blooms for Africa event, which was a celebration of the launch of Pat Dickinson's book. I know I can. I think I can. I think I can. That's the name of her book, and it was a wonderful event. There are other joys and sorrows in our hearts which we are not expressing today, but we hold them all in our heart. Our offertory, the offering that we accept each Sunday, is an opportunity to recommit ourselves to this community and to our relationship with one another. When we give, we say yes to something we value. We say yes to the values of our faith. We'll now receive our offering as we listen to our choir once again. What a privilege. It's hard to take money seriously when it's given to you like that. But nonetheless, we thank you. Thank you so much for your generosity. It makes this place happen. Thank you.
So my talk this morning is going to move between a personal story, some personal reflections from my childhood, and lead us into a conversation for our current time. So I hope as we journey together, much like gazing into the stars, that you might follow me and that my story might echo with pieces of your story. When I was growing up, we moved around a lot, following affordable and governmental subsidized housing. My mother was always trying to keep us in the good school district. Moving around so much was so normalized for me that as an adult, it rarely occurred to me to renew a lease on an apartment. When the lease was up, it was time to move on to the next apartment. It became a way of life. With so much moving from place to place, I sought grounding, security, and familiarity. And to a large degree, I found comfort and safety in books and in storytelling, weaving through beloved authors and adventuring into books beyond my age at the library. I was so lucky, and I remained so grateful to all the stories and all the places and all the nooks of the library that held me and helped me become. I also took refuge in the Midwestern sky and in the nature of my surroundings. In the summer, I would surrender myself to the sunshine, feeling the warmth wrap around me in a hot, tight hug. Such warmth felt like love, and I marveled at my good fortune to feel starlight wake me up in the morning and to play all day long in the sticky heat. At night, I would sit on the stoop and watch the moon watching me, curious about the twinkles and far-away places that revealed themselves in the night sky. I felt connected to a mystery that escaped words. Stars I could almost reach out and grasp with my kid-sized hands. This is where I felt at home. Beneath the shimmery sky, vast and frightening, I was full of questions. I wondered how we could see the stars, why the moon followed me, even during the day. I wondered if people all over the world saw the same sky I saw from my small Michigan town. I wondered if there was someone somewhere thinking about me as much as I was thinking about them. When the James Webb Telescope project began releasing images last year, I got sort of obsessed. As you know, I've had some of those images in our service already. But stargazing, the poetry of stargazing, the quest of gazing at the stars was renewed in my spirit. Carl Sagan writes, "The cosmos is within us. We are made of star stuff. We are a way for the universe to know itself." The universality of being star-made, incarnations of cosmic dust and combustions, brings me comfort. It brings me joy. It is the transcendent truth that connects the web of being. We are a way for the universe to know itself, and we each hold a spark of stardust, and we can know each other as majestic and beautiful and we can be at home together on this earth planet, lush with life. Turkish author Orhan Pamuk has this beautiful line in his novel Snow. He writes, "Every person has a star, every star has a friend. And for every person carrying a star, there is someone else who reflects it. And everyone carries this reflection like a secret confidant in the heart." Isn't that marvelous? Secret confidants among us, reflecting each other in the world. We are a community of stars. Fast forward from my childhood, where I just wandered around looking at the stars and gazing from the front stoop, I encountered one of the great lessons of my young adult life. And it was, and I'm going to do my very best to describe this because I know this is not a surprise, but I am not a scientist. But I am science curious. I love what science has, the questions that show up that allow my mind and my thoughts to wander into places that surprise me, that teach me. So here's the lesson. It was the discovery that light behaves as both a particle and a wave. It's a big deal discovery in physics that led me to think about the complexity of human experience. We can be many things at one time. There is multiplicity built into our beings. This led me to wrestle with the next big question, the uncertainty principle. Again, I'm not a scientist, but the uncertainty principle states that the more certain we are of the location of a particle, the less certain we are of the momentum of that particle. The lesson here in my young adult life, and the one that caught my attention, is that uncertainty is woven through our lives, through the fabric of our being. There is room for mystery, for surprise, and it also points to the problem of measurement, which is sort of something else, but what it invites us to consider is that the position from which we observe the position from which we observe the world makes a great deal of difference. Once again, I have found myself in another season of searching the sky for answers as the war between Israel and Hamas continues to escalate and the suffering seems out of control. I've been thinking about complexity and these early lessons from the stars, finding a home in the cosmos, the multiplicity of being, and to remember that there is a great deal of uncertainty woven through our lives. When Rabbi Danya Ruttenberg's weekly blog arrived in my inbox on October 12th, it began with these simple and poignant words: "A lot of things are true." Rabbi Danya's invitation to notice this cosmic stardust truth is important, and she names the multiplicity of truths as they arrive. We can rage and denounce the actions of Hamas and lament the Jewish lives lost and destroyed. While we might be able to notice that complexity, I do think it's hard to hold emotionally. The scale of suffering is so great and so painful. Beloveds, I invite us in this moment in time in our world to proceed carefully in love and sensitivity for the histories and lived experiences that are intersecting at this moment in time, and to work hard to disrupt hateful tropes that are harmful and hurtful to Jewish, Muslim, Israeli, Palestinian, and systemically oppressed people around the world. We must continue to recognize the generational trauma and pain woven through our human communities and hold compassion for the weight of suffering in the world. We must account for our privilege, owning the privilege of our perspective, because it changes how we see things, and make a commitment to do no harm the best that we can. On Thursday, reviewing a list of those who have signed on to the Ceasefire Now Canada Coalition, I noticed that the Canadian Unitarian Council has not yet provided a signature of support. I reached out to the National Voice team, urging them to sign the Ceasefire Now statement, joining a coalition of over 90 community-based, faith-based, public service and justice-seeking organizations from across Canada. I hope that our faith will respond to the call of a ceasefire. As people of faith, I believe we are called to demand a ceasefire as a means to the end, the death and destruction in Gaza, and the safe return of all the hostages. We must demand safe passage for humanitarian aid, food, medicine, safe water into Gaza, and the restoration of water, electricity, and communication infrastructure. It is only in the presence of a ceasefire that peace can be born. I know my words today may be challenging, but I fear the consequences of silence. The capacity to choose silence as an artifact of my own white privilege and social location. My question for me and for us is this: can we reach into the world with our message of mutuality and love? Can we unlearn and disrupt painful and harmful legacies of white supremacy, colonialism, anti-Semitism, and Islamophobia? Knowing that beloveds among us are hurting and are afraid of the harm that unfolds in Unitarian, Universalist spaces persistently. In a letter to religious professionals, representatives from the Unitarian Universalist Association shared the following message this week. We have heard, they write, we have heard from many of you that more guidance and resources would be helpful, and we are working quickly to create and curate tools for our congregations and communities. We will share more specifics very soon, but in the coming 2 to 3 weeks, please know that we will be offering some combination of identity-based spaces for Jewish and Muslim religious professionals, online training for religious professionals to provide grounding in this geopolitical moment, as well as context about UU history with issues related to Israel and Palestine, framing and resources to help understand the relationship between the current escalation in Gaza and rising white Christian nationalism, specifically in the US, and templates for facilitating congregational conversations about these issues. This is a time to lean into guidance, to learn how not to harm our siblings in faith, our friends, our families, our communities, as we call for peace and justice in the world. In the coming weeks, I will share resources to support our journey in understanding and compassion. And I hope you will join me on this learning journey. I have work to do too. I am unfinished, becoming and discovering new ways of being with you. As these resources become available, we'll share them with the congregation, develop toolkits for reflection for chalice circles, and continue to convene peace circles in person and online to care for our grief, fear, and loss, and to nurture the spirit of peace in ourselves. Finally, our Unitarian Universalist values invite us to attune to the call of community, even when it's hard and uncomfortable, to learn and grow to become the people we long to be. And I'll say it one more time, we have work to do. I have work to do to resist the tentacles and tendencies of hate to polarize and reproduce the pain and trauma in our world. We are a people so bold, brave, compassionate, and relentless about the possibility of freedom for all people and the earth. May we keep gazing at the sky, searching for that little star, the one we thought was lost. And may she find us, and may our heart fill with warmth, and may we live together as beloved community in a world that knows peace in the presence of justice. Amen, and blessed be. Please rise for our final hymn today. We are 1051 in our teal hymnal. Beloveds, nurtured and nourished in spirit, reminded that you are stardust, a majestic being that is loved beyond belief, and that the world needs your love. The world needs your creativity and commitment as we dream the world into being. And as our postlude reminds us, may the world be sustained by truth, justice, and peace. We extinguish this chalice, but not the fire in our hearts until we meet again.
Before you run away, I made the mistake of forgetting our announcements this morning. So you did miss Elizabeth Beckett up here talking about Canvas. So I will tell you that in her words, we have turned our rolling chalice on its head as we have rolled about halfway to our Canvas goal of $300,000. Let's put that right. Let's put that right by pledging today. Please complete your pledge form by signing into the church website, following the link. If you'd like to chat, she'd be happy to meet with you by phone or in person. I don't know if she's here right now. There you are. Hello. Talk to Elizabeth. Zoomers and Booners Coffee Social will be held on Wednesday, November 1st at 1:30 in Fellowship Hall. Joanne Tunnicliffe, you will be so happy you went to listen to Joanne entertaining us with Sounds of Nature presentation. It's sure to be fun. Everyone over 50 is welcome. Light refreshments are to be served. RSVP if you plan to attend, but it doesn't say where to do that, so I expect it's the website or check the All Church email. And lastly, another super cool, if that's an old saying, the music team is pleased to invite singers of all ages and experience to join us on Saturday, November 11th for a unique music experience circle singing with multi-instrumentalist, vocalist, and choir director Francisco Rui. Subsidized $15 tickets include the workshop as well as a light supper and a mini concert. If you want more information, you can contact Beverly, check your all-church email or the website, and I hope to see you there. I'll be there for sure. Thank you so much.